All right, welcome. Have you ever wondered what's really going on behind the scenes of your favorite websites? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the secret language that makes the entire web work. We're talking about the small but super powerful instructions that turn a simple page of text into a real interactive experience.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You click a button, you click some text, and boom, you're on a totally different page, maybe on a server halfway across the world. How in the world does your browser know what to do? Well, it's not magic, but it's pretty darn close.
The answer, the secret sauce, is something called HTML attributes. These are the little instructions embedded right there in the code, telling every single thing on a web page from an image to a link, not just what it is, but what it's supposed to do.
So what do these so-called secret instructions actually look like? To figure that out, we've got to zoom in and, deconstruct the code itself. Let's break it down.
Okay, so at its very core, an attribute is just some extra information that tweaks an element. It's not changing the content itself, it's just describing it. And every single attribute follows a super simple pattern. A name, which is the property you want to change, and a value, which is the specific instruction. Name, value. That's it.
Let's check out a real-world example. This one line of code here, this is what puts an image onto a web page. Now I know, it might look like a jumble of text, but once you start to see that name equals value pattern we just talked about, it's all going to click into place. First up, we've got SRC. This is just short for source, and it's probably the most important attribute for any image. Its value, in this case image.jpg, is basically the address. It's telling the browser, hey, go find this exact file and stick it right here on the page. Next, you see alt. This stands for alternative text. And this one is so important for accessibility because it gives a description for screen readers. It's also what you'll see if the image, for whatever reason, doesn't load. It's like the Elements backup plan. And finally, we have width and height. These are pretty straightforward, right? They just control how it looks. They tell the browser exactly how big the image should be on the page. See? Each attribute just adds another specific, vital instruction to the pile.
Okay, so now that we've seen what an attribute is made of, let's get organized. You might think there are tons of these things, but really, they all fall neatly into just three main categories. It might seem like there are hundreds of different attributes you've got to memorize, but here's the secret: you don't. It all boils down to just three main types. If you can get your head around these three, you're going to see the whole big picture.
So let's break them down. First, you've got global attributes. Think of these as your universal tools. You can pretty much use them on any HTML element you want. Then there are core attributes. These are the specialists, designed for very specific tags, like the href attribute you only find on a link. And finally, we have event attributes. These are the ones that make a page feel alive, because they just sit there and wait for a user to do something, like onClick.
Theory is great and all, but let's see how this stuff actually plays out in the wild. We're going to do a quick run-through of 5 of the most common and important attributes that, honestly, you probably interact with every single day online.
Let's start with the big one, href. This thing is the absolute lifeblood of the web. It's the attribute that magically turns a plain old piece of text into a clickable link by telling the browser where to go. Seriously, without href, there are no hyperlinks. The web just wouldn't be the web.
Okay, so what if you have a bunch of paragraphs and you want them all to look exactly the same? That is where the class attribute comes in. It's a developer's best friend. It lets you group different elements together under one name so you can apply one style and change all of them at once. Super efficient. But what if you don't want to target a whole group? What if you need to pinpoint just one specific thing on the page? For that, you use ID. A class can be shared by lots of elements, but an ID has to be totally unique. It's like a fingerprint for a single element, which makes it perfect for targeting something specific, like the main header of your page. All right, moving on from just structure to actual interaction. We have the type attribute, which is absolutely essential for any kind of form. See, an input tag by itself is kind of generic, but the type attribute gives it a very specific job. Is it for text? Is it a password field? A checkbox? This one little attribute completely changes how that element functions.
And last but not least, let's see what happens when a user actually does something. The onClick attribute is an event attribute. It does absolutely nothing until you click on the element. That single click then triggers some code, making the page react. This right here is the foundation of all web interactivity.
So let's tie this all together.
Why do we care so much about these little name and value pairs? Well, it's simple. They are the things that elevate a web page from being just a static, flat document into a dynamic, useful application.
When you step back and look at it, you realize attributes are what give developers their superpowers. They give you the control to define how things look and how they act, to build interactive experiences, and, of course, to link the entire web together. You know, if HTML tags are the nouns, then attributes are the verbs. They're the action words that make things happen.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. As the source material puts it so perfectly, they are indispensable components. Indispensable. I mean, that says it all right there. You simply cannot build a modern website without them. It's impossible.
So, the next time you click a link, or you fill out a form, or watch a video online, just take a second and remember all those hidden attributes working hard behind the scenes. They are the real building blocks. They're what transform a simple page of text into a whole world of possibilities. So the only question left is, what will you build with them?